Hello, my name is Stephanie Wairagu, and today I'll be sharing my research titled COVID-19 Vaccine Hesitancy Among College Students and Staff. I'd like to begin with a bit of background information. So, in March 2020, the World Health Organization declared COVID-19 a global pandemic, and in December later that year, the FDA issued an emergency use authorization for the Pfizer vaccine for individuals 16 years of age and older. Other vaccines, such as Moderna and the Johnson vaccine, were later developed and approved. However, despite efforts by scientists to create these COVID-19 vaccines within record time, many people remain hesitant about getting vaccinated. So, what exactly is vaccine hesitancy? Vaccine hesitancy is defined as the delay in acceptance or refusal of vaccination despite availability of vaccination services. Vaccine hesitancy has been identified by the World Health Organization as one of the top 10 threats to global health, as it acts as a serious barrier to protection of individuals and communities against vaccine-preventable diseases. Research on vaccine acceptance has shown that individual decision-making regarding vaccination is complex and may involve emotional, cultural, social, spiritual, or political factors as much as cognitive factors. So with this research project, I sought to characterize vaccine hesitancy attitudes in a small college population and evaluate the role of information sources on these attitudes. This is important because it is only by understanding what people think about COVID vaccines and understanding what uncertainties they may have that we can tailor appropriate messaging to promote vaccine uptake and increase public confidence in vaccination. Understanding people's concerns also helps us know the barriers that need to be addressed, such as misinformation. So the methodology of my research is that I began with a review of literature where I looked at the phenomenon of vaccine hesitancy, factors that contribute to vaccine hesitancy, and some of the ways to gain public confidence. I wanted to explore the factors that contribute to vaccine hesitancy in a small college population. And so I conducted my study whereby my participant population comprised students and staff from Meredith College who self-identified as being vaccine hesitant. Participants were invited to participate in one-on-one interviews with me or to fill out an anonymous survey through Google Forms. And they were later asked questions about their perceived risk and severity of COVID-19 infection, their sources of credible information, their concerns about the available COVID-19 vaccines, their views on the safety and efficacy of the vaccines, and lastly, whether any incentives would encourage them to get vaccinated and feel confident about it. A total of 19 individuals completed the anonymous survey via Google Forms, but no one agreed to participate in one-on-one Zoom interviews during the study period. I was then able to identify common themes from the open-ended responses and codify them for analysis using R. So one of my findings was that most respondents felt that they were at negligible or moderate risk of disease, and very few reported being at high risk of contracting COVID-19. Another finding was that most people reported getting information they felt was credible from the CDC website. Other sources that were mentioned include the World Health Organization, healthcare professionals, college websites, social media, and parents. The most predominant concern about vaccinations was related to the experimental nature of mRNA vaccines, followed by concerns about adverse effects, both short-term and long-term. Majority of the respondents also felt that the vaccines were not effective at preventing COVID-19, with many citing the occurrence of breakthrough infections as evidence of this ineffectiveness. Lastly, I wanted to assess whether there was an association between the sources of information and the perception of vaccine effectiveness. So I conducted a series of Fisher exact tests, which revealed that there was no significant association between the source of information and the perception that vaccines are effective. There was also no significant association between the source of information and the perception that vaccines are not safe. However, I discovered that 50% of the respondents who had concerns about the experimental nature of the vaccine perceived the COVID vaccines to be ineffective. In conclusion, I noted that most of the stated concerns were consistent with the factors that I read up in the literature sources that contribute to vaccine hesitancy. And more importantly, I concluded that public health efforts to address concerns related to the experimental nature of mRNA vaccines and concerns about the adverse effects of the vaccines are necessary to increase public confidence in COVID vaccines. Proper education on the fact that COVID vaccines protect against disease and not infection is important because it will address the misconceptions that COVID vaccines are ineffective by the mere fact that there is presence of breakthrough infections. Finally, I would like to acknowledge and thank Dr. Carolina Perez-Hedrich for being an amazing research mentor and for her support and guidance throughout my research project. Thank you.